Bank of America, it's pretty huge, right? I mean, it's the second largest bank here in the US. They've got something like 69 million customers, give or take. And well, like all banks, they've got some specific rules and procedures. We're going to unpack one of those today that you may not even be aware of. It has to do with what happens if you leave your account inactive. Could be checking, could be savings. You just don't touch it for a while. And yeah, you might be thinking, well, it's my money. What's the big deal? But it can actually lead to your account being closed or even crazier, transferred to the state. It's called Escheatment. Bank of America actually lays out on their website the reasons why they might declare an account abandoned. And they've even got tips on how to keep things active so you don't run into this. Now, this isn't just about your everyday accounts. We're talking CDs, IRAs, even safe deposit boxes are all sorts of property get wrapped up in this escheatment process. It's basically where the bank is legally obligated to report and transfer this unclaimed property to the state. So let's break it down. When does Bank of America decide an account is abandoned? What exactly eyes this escheatment thing? And most importantly, how do you prevent it from happening to you? Stick with us, it gets interesting. So first things first. What makes Bank of America raise an eyebrow and go, boom, is this account abandoned? Oh, cool. We all got that one account we forget about, right? So when do they get serious about this whole inactive thing? From what I've gathered, the magic number seems to be 3 years. You had 3 years of no activity, no logins, nothing, and they start to classify it as inactive. But don't worry, they don't just go snatching up your money right away. They usually send you a warning letter, heads up, saying, hey, this account is looking pretty abandoned over here. If you don't do something, we might have to turn it over to the state. They'll probably explain a bit about escheatment laws and whatnot. Speaking of which, let's get into that whole process. What exactly happens during this escheatment thing? So as I mentioned before, it's a legal process. The bank is required to report and transfer any abandoned property to the state. But each state has its own rules, right? But when do they officially say, yep, that's abandoned? And what happens to the money? Where does it actually go? Okay, so it's usually I asked about 3 years in most states, at least for many types of property. It's not just a Bank America thing, it's the law. And when the bank does hand over the account, the funds go to, get this, the state's Unclaimed Property Division. So think about that for a second. If you let your account go dormant for too long and it gets escheated, you're not going to get your money back from Bank of America. You're going to have to go through the state. And your original account, poof, it's gone. Which brings up another point. This escheatment business, it doesn't just apply to checking and savings accounts, right? What other stuff falls under this umbrella? We're talking CDs, IRAs, those retirement accounts you've been diligently putting money into, they can be escheated. And get this, even safe deposit boxes. What you've got tucked away in there, that can become the state's property too. And there's things like cashier's checks you haven't cashed, other financial documents that haven't been dealt with. All they can be subject to escheatment. Oh, and don't forget about securities. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, yep, those can get caught up in this too. So yeah, it's a pretty wide net to cast. So this all sounds a little scary. What can we actually do to avoid all of this? I mean, I don't want my money ending up with the state. Bank of America does offer some advice, thankfully. What are some things they say we could do to keep those accounts active? It's actually pretty simple, most of it. First off, log into your online banking every so often. Just check your balance, make sure things look right. That counts as activity. They also suggest doing some transactions, deposit some money, withdraw some, just keep things moving. And this is a big one. Keep your contact info updated. If they can't reach you, how are they supposed to warn you about an inactive account? Also, if you got any old checks lying around, cash them in. Don't let them expire. Another good tip, use their digital banking tools. I know some people aren't big on technology, but can really help you keep track of your accounts and get those alerts if something's up. Speaking of alerts, set those up. They can be super helpful as reminders. Okay, so let's say the worst happens and you get that dreaded letter about an inactive account. What should you do? I mean, panic is probably not the best strategy, right? What's the first step? If you get that letter, don't ignore it. That's your cue to take action. Follow the instructions they give you, contact a bank, and get things sorted out. You'd usually head off the escheatment process at that point. But what if it's too late? What if your account has already been escheated and the money's with the state? What then? Is all hope lost? How do we even begin to get that back? Keep breaths. It's not the end of the world. You just have to go through the state's unclaimed property process. Each state has its own way of doing things, but you'll generally need to prove who you are and that the money is rightfully yours. Dig out those old account statements, your ID, anything that can help verify your claim. It might take a little time, but you should be able to get your funds back. It's wild to think about how much banking has changed even in the past few years. It used to be all about brick and mortar, going into the physical bank, but now with everything moving online, things aren't different. Does this whole online banking shift make this escheatment issue even trickier? It definitely makes it more important than ever to stay on top of things. Bank of America, they've been closing branches, and lots of other banks are doing the same. The digital world is taking over, and if you're not keeping up with your online accounts, you could be setting yourself up for trouble. Just a thought, something to keep in mind as we move further into this digital age. Okay, let's wrap things up here. So the big takeaway is this: stay active with your Bank of America accounts. Don't let them just sit there gathering dust. Otherwise, they might decide they're abandoned and hand over your hard-earned money to the state. And remember, it's not just checking and savings. It's all sorts of stuff: CDs, IRAs, even your safe deposit box. So log in, make some transactions, keep your contact info updated, and hey, set up those alerts if they're helpful for you. If you get a warning letter, don't freak out. Just take care of it right away. And if, for whatever reason, your funds DO end up with the state, don't worry, you can get them back. Just reach out to your state's Unclaimed Property Division, and they'll walk you through the process. We've covered a lot of ground today, but I hope it's been helpful. The more you know about these policies, the better prepared you'll be to manage your money and avoid any unpleasant surprises. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more informative content like this. That's all from us today. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.